The National Weather Service has completed its investigation into the tornado that touched down in Washington on Sunday. We'll tell you what they found, plus Carrie Schneider is back with our friends from the DuBois County Humane Society, and Natalie Boland with the Spencer County Substance Abuse Council is tonight's guest for Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin tonight with the National Weather Service completing its investigation into the tornadoes that ravaged our WJTS viewing area over the weekend. The Weather Service says the tornado that swept through Washington and Daviess County was ruled an EF2. That means the storm's wind speeds were believed to have been between 115 and 135 miles per hour. John Kwiatkowski is the Science and Operations Officer for the National Weather Service's Indianapolis office. He says the rating came as a result of the damage, including one house that was moved off of its foundation.
We probably would have rated the tornado higher, but the house was not strapped to the foundation, so it would have been a little easier to move, although it's, of course, very difficult to move a house in the best of circumstances. So that made it a strong tornado, and we felt that an EF2 was the way to go. Also, a little farther away, there were branches and boards punched all the way through the exterior of a house and into the house itself. And when you get projectiles like that, that's an indication that your tornado was quite strong.
Kwiatkowski says though the tornado that hit Washington was easy to figure out in terms of how powerful it was, it is not always an easy process.
It is difficult to connect the spots sometimes. If the tornado goes through open country, it may be hard to determine whether it was on the ground or not. If it goes through wooded areas, you may not be able to see what you really like to see. So the track is easiest to establish in areas where there is a lot for the tornado to affect, such as Washington was a good example of a track that wasn't too hard to follow.
Indiana Governor Mike Pence also stopped by to survey the damage yesterday afternoon. He says hearts go out to all of those in Washington who lost their homes in the wake of the storm. Pence was joined in his tour of the city by area state lawmakers, 8th District Congressman Larry Bucshon, and Washington Mayor Joe Wellman. Ultimately, close to 100 homes and businesses were damaged in Sunday's round of storms. Kwiatkowski says the tornado that touched down just north of Shoals in Martin County and headed through Bedford and points east was ruled as an EF1 tornado with maximum wind speeds of 90 miles per hour. Now statewide, some Indiana power companies are warning customers that some will not have electricity back until this Friday. Indiana Michigan Power says some 2,100 customers in the Marion Hartford City area in north central Indiana were still without power as of this morning, and they may not have it back until late on Friday. The company says some 3,800 customers in the South Bend area remain without power, and they might not have their power back on until Thursday evening. Duke Energy says the Kokomo and Lafayette areas were their hardest hit areas, with about 7,000 customers combined without power as of this morning. Duke says it is hoping to have power restored to all customers by midday tomorrow. No deaths were reported in any of Sunday's storms across Indiana. Now, we do want to pass along this warning concerning contractors. Contractors are already moving in, ready to help storm victims across the state. However, not all of them are reputable. Tim Maniscalco, the head of Indiana's Better Business Bureau, says take your time before you make any repairs to your home and don't fall for a high-pressure sale at your door. Maniscalco says check with your insurance company first to see which repairs they cover. If you need to make some fixes out of your pocket, Maniscalco suggests getting about 3 to 4 quotes from reputable businesses, which are listed on bbb.org. Maniscalco says never pay for a repair before it is finished. Finally this evening, another step has been taken towards a new fuel source for Jasper City vehicles. Last night, the Jasper Utility Board approved becoming a member of the Greater Indiana Cleaner Cities Coalition. The cost, $500 per year. The membership now allows for a feasibility study to be done for a compressed natural gas filling station for city vehicles. Jasper Utilities General Manager Bud Hauersperger says the membership is a step forward for the city.
So we think so. We're looking at probably towards the end of January to have a workshop for maybe some of the local industry here to see what's available in compressed natural gas and kind of update them on what we're looking at and what might be available.
Also last night, the board formally approved allowing Christopher B. Burke Engineering to complete a feasibility study on raising the spillway about 9 inches at Beaver Lake. The cost for that study is slated not to exceed $11,000. Hauersperger says the familiarity that Christopher B. Burke Engineering has with the project is the biggest reason for them doing the feasibility study.
We just thought it would be more efficient for them to look at any kind of modifications to the spillway, because they are the kind of the official licensed engineer that did the original design, and it's their project. So we thought, plus they have kind of all the software and all the data involved with doing hydraulic analysis. So from a learning curve standpoint, we thought it would be better to have them just continue with this project and look at what our options are.
In other business last night, the board approved a change to the monitoring of the 3rd Avenue water main project. This project will now utilize a full-time inspector to monitor the ongoing water main replacement rather than the original part-time arrangement. Hauersperger says the change was a necessary one after talking with the contractor.
They really thought it would be more efficient if we had a full-time inspector there, so if something arose, they could address it immediately rather than kind of maybe getting mixed messages between what our department told them to do and what the engineer wants them to do. So by having an engineer there full-time, we should avoid any kind of delays or misrepresentations and get the job done right.
In final notes, the board approved an amendment to its current contract with Ireland for water. The board also approved a bid for a new portable meter tester for the electric department from Brownstown Electric Supply of Brownstown, Indiana, and that bid came in at $9,205. The board also heard last night that the City of Washington requested assistance from the Jasper Electric Utility in the wake of the recent storms. Electric Distribution Chairman Jerry Sheeter says several trucks and men spent yesterday in Washington working to restore power. Coming up after the break, Carrie is back with our friends at the Du Bois County Humane Society, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Googsell, and Inform featuring Natalie Boland with the Spencer County Substance Abuse Council. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.